Alrighty, welcome back to a best of 5 series of Terran versus Zerg. We're in game number 1. Interestingly enough, we find ourselves on post youth. This particular TVZ was recently played during the ESL Masters Spring tournament, so an offline event all the way over in Dallas. But both of these players, they probably flew in together actually, from South Korea. First off, in the top right hand corner, you know him, you love him. We're looking at none other than Dark. His opponent in the opposite corner, you know him, you love him. We have the Terran player, ByuN. Alrighty, good old ByuN versus Dark. This is one of those matchups that I think everybody loves. They've been playing against each other for a very long time. They know each other very well. Of course, they can both be a little cheeky. And interestingly enough, we find ourselves on this map in game 1. It's the same map actually as the grand finals that we started off on, between Maru and Serral. It's a bit of an interesting one. Yeah. I'm curious to see if ByuN wants to do anything too crazy. It looks like we're not gonna go for like a double Rex opener or anything like that. Yeah. Usually both of these players, they tend to scale it down a little bit when there's a lot of money on the line. For this particular tournament, I think the total prize pool was $100,000. So they usually tone it down a little bit when there is a lot of money. But there's still no denying that both of these... Oh god. Oh no, we're just scouting. Okay. Yeah, that both of these are perfectly capable of doing something a little weird. Dark really just making sure that he's not getting proxy rexed. Every once in a while, there is one of those series out there, Premier Tournament or not, where ByuN is proxying every single game. Dark. Excuse me. I just had a biscuit. Don't inhale a biscuit. It's bad. Your lungs can't do that. Dark just decided to send that drone a little bit early to the low ground to check whether or not there was a proxy out there. And apparently, upon seeing that there was nothing, he decided to use that drone to build the third base. Professional commentator alert. You know one thing I noticed over the years? People don't really want you to be that professional. No. Usually the videos where I mess up, the casts where I don't do particularly well, where I start stumbling over my words and I make stupid mistakes, those are the ones that people seem to like the most. It's like, ha, look at this idiot. What? He doesn't even know words. He can't even say them properly. He can't even breathe. It happens. It happens. Yeah. Sometimes you get a live blooper reel. Always nice. To be fair, it kind of does make sense, right? Like, for example, I love watching The Office. I think The Office is one of the funniest shows I've ever seen. I think I enjoy watching blooper reels from The Office even more. There's something very funny about... Anyways, completely irrelevant. How do we get there? We have a straight up... Okay, so this is a triple CC into triple barracks opener here for ByuN. That is very greedy. There's a lot of different builds that Zerg could go for that would just straight up shut this down. Looks like Dark, though, is going to let his opponent get away with murder. Yep. Bit of a gamble here from our Terran player, but he looks like he is going to be just alright. And this is, I think, safe again when he does finish up the Stimpack research. If Dark wants to go for a Roach Rush, he would have to start up the Roach Warren by like 3 minutes and maybe 30, 40 seconds. So we're already a little bit past that point. This looks to me like a game where Dark is ready to meet his opponent head on. Okay. 4 Overlords? Okay, Dark. 5 Overlords. 6 Overlords. 7 Overlords? This is not an auction, Dark. Does anybody have 6? Does anybody have 7? Oh, can we get an 8? No, what was that? I love how Dark wins a ton of Premier tournaments, right? Like, this is one of the most successful Zerg players ever. You look at all these other players that are very good at winning tournaments, and they play StarCraft 2 with clinical precision. They will be, like, trying to shave off half a second here, half a second there, and then you have guys like Dark that are like, haha, what is a build order? How do... Okay, maybe that's a little rude, but there is definitely some questionable decision-making being made by Dark, but... I guess the opponents are sometimes also a little confused about what they're playing against, so it sometimes does work in his favor. It's funny though, because Dark has been doing this for many years, and even though he could certainly be punished for it, right now there is an opportunity for the Terran to attack. ByuN doesn't really know that that is the case. Now you'd imagine that in the long run it wouldn't really be that great of a way to play, but Dark has been consistently doing this over and over and over again. Okay. So, ultimately, very macro-focused start here. Third command center, way down on the low ground. This does feel like it's a very long distance away, but luckily we have a few Marines at this point. We're gonna go straight into 1-1, by the way, together with the Combat Shield Research 2. So those Marines are just here to power up. And now Barracks 4 and 5 we're gonna finish up. We have Medevac production coming. We should go into siege tanks here. Ultimately, the timing attack here that ByuN is going for is gonna hit like a truck. It'll be tough for Dark to really hold on to it. Dark not really scouting all too much, to be honest. I think he roughly has an understanding of what is happening here, but he's gone into 1-1 research. He's going into the Baneling Nest upgrades, I guess, eventually. But he's not going to be able to finish up Baneling speed before this big attack from the Terran hits. If ByuN decides to commit, I mean, he can just kill this hatchery straight up. Yeah. If ByuN decides to commit with a big attack, I think it's going to be really difficult for Dark to hold. So we should see the Terran player move out when all of these upgrades finish up, which is right about right now. Baneling speed does come up nice and quickly. We have an infestation pit here as well immediately. But even though the Baneling speed is early, considering the timing of the, or considering rather the finishing of the lair, it is still relatively late in the grand scheme of things. And actually, both of the players expanding the way that they are, they're almost neighbors. Yeah. If ByuN was a nice guy, he could like go mow the lawn a little bit from his opponent, you know? But I don't think there's lawns. I don't think Zerg players really, I don't know if the creep grows upward, you know? I don't think you need to maintain the creep very much. ByuN was really attached to that supply depot. He decides to build another one right at the exact same spot. Factory number 2 coming up. Hive coming up too. I think ByuN should go. He decides not to take any chances. I'm a little surprised he's playing this as passively as he is. Because ultimately now that is going to allow Dark to get away with a lot of this. So even though Baneling speed wasn't quite done yet, he's going to finish it up momentarily. These guys, I was going to say, they don't have a medevac above them, but they were apparently ready to swoop in. Another stim on the right side of the map, though, is going to get rid of a hatchery over at the gold base once again. And this hatch may not be too far behind either, to be honest. Yeah, I'm not in love with what Dark is cooking up here. He's got a lot of units, sure, but it doesn't really seem like he's got any sort of attacking plan. He's just trying to go up to a quick hive and, I guess, into Ultralisks. So for now, he's playing the survival game. And if he decides to try and maybe hit his opponent in the head as soon as, like, Ultras are out, I can see that working here. So this should just be an Ultra Rush. It's a bit of a funky build, but one that Saro has been going for as well. Although in a bit of a different way. So Hive is done right now? Yep, Ultra Cavern. Ultra Cavern, Adrenal Glands. Aw, I thought we were in sync, Dark. He's pushing in the meantime on the other side of the map. Bit of a strange timing on this one, but he saw an opportunity and he decides to take it. Look at his... the Widowmine body blocking for a while. Alright, well, hey. This is what I'm talking about. This is such a random attack. How did we just kill 18 SCVs? Like a minute before 2-2 finishes? Okay. Dark is better than anybody else at those weird engagements. Like, he looks at an opportunity like that and he's like, yeah, no, you know what? This is fine. I can actually do that. Nobody else really seems to be capable of making such calls as quickly. Yeah, it's fascinating. Okay, Marines get picked up. We're gonna fly around once more. The Zerglings in the bottom right-hand corner. And you know what? Eventually, there's gonna be fully upgraded Ultralisks and fully upgraded Zerglings in this game. And this is not really yet a game where ByuN is capable of doing much of anything. He doesn't really have any ghosts yet. He doesn't have a Ghost Academy yet. This is a lot of SCVs falling. Looks like some of the Zerglings are going to be... some of the Zerglings are going to be... This Baneling showed up a little late to the party. Some of the Zerglings are going to be able to get away as well. It'll be really tough for ByuN to kill Ultras in this game. Ambitious little drone. Once more aiming for the golden minerals. +3/+3 fires up here as well for the Terran, but... I think he's going to be in a world of trouble against Ultras. It's funny because Ultras are not considered to be that great of a unit overall, but... he doesn't have a proper counter against them whatsoever. Now, the only thing that is not really that great for the Zerg is that he forgot about the +3 carapace. Thank you for making me look good, Dark. Fires it up as soon as I show you. He was a bit late on that. Speedy Boy upgrade coming up as well for the Ultralisks. That'll be nice. I think you're gonna. I think Dark is gonna try and attack right here. I think we're gonna see him go across the map now. He's been playing defensively for the majority of it, other than some interesting little timings, some interesting little attacks. But now he's just about to hit a very nice power spike. He's gonna be able to remax with additional Zerglings pretty easily. So there's currently 3 Ultras. Yeah, it's not really that many Ultras. So ByuN is, by the way, doing ByuN things. He is refusing to make Liberators or Ghosts. So ByuN does this sometimes, and I can never really make sense of it, because it doesn't seem very good to me. But he made the additional barracks over here, he added on the additional tech labs, so he ended up with the conventional amount of resources and you know, structures here. But then he skips the Ghost Academy. So he's basically just going Marauders now, against Ultralisks. Nidus Network, coming up. We didn't see a lot of success with the Nidus Worm when Raynor was trying to do that against Oliveira. But this is, of course, very different. My god, okay. 6 Dropper Lords coming up in the bottom right-hand corner. I'm a little surprised Dark has not decided to go for a big attack, though. Much like I was surprised that ByuN decided not to go for a big attack. Hydra, then, on the back of this as well. So, Zerglings, basically fully upgraded. Ready to fly into the main base of the Terran. And with Adrenal Glands, these units deal so much damage so quick. Yeah, I think they're gonna be hitting right around the same time as the rest of the Zerg army. Or at the very least, as the Terran is trying to march towards the other side of the map. Okay. Here's the drop. Heading on over inside of the main base. New command centers, by the way, just started up. Queen's here as well. Blinding Cloud on the Marines. Queens, of course, with Transfusion, can keep those Ultras alive for a very long time. Looks like the entire Terran army has turned around to go into the main base. Overlords are going to be hanging out in the corner once more. Still a massive army, though, for the Terran here. Significantly bigger than that of the Zerg. Dark decides to add on some additional drones here, which is an interesting choice. Bit of an overstim right here on some of these units, so ByuN is going to have to run. What a very action-packed game 1 here. I really thought we were going to see more aggressive timing attacks from both of these players, but neither of them really committing to anything too aggressively. Really just, yeah, building the units and then testing the waters a little bit, but ultimately backing off again very rapidly. Okay. Gold mineral line is the one that ByuN has got his eyes set on next. Planetary Fortress is a bit of a no-brainer in this position. A lot of the Widow Mines are not currently burrowed. Okay. Well. So, why are we not... like, somebody explain this to me. Why are we not making ghosts? I can't make sense of it. This is such a ByuN move as well. Nobody else does this. He just doesn't make ghosts. He's going up against a ton of spellcasters, a ton of ultras. Ghosts are a great counter against both. But instead he's trying to just bring it home playing pure Marine Marauder Medevac. And while there's a lot of DPS in his army and in straight up fights, it's not to be underestimated. I think it'll be really difficult to win playing just Marine Marauder in the long run. Maybe he's playing the challenge to only play units that start with the letter M. Marine Marauder Medevac Mine. Yeah. And messy Vs. It's an interesting challenge to be playing though while you're competing in a $100,000 tournament. But, hey, it's brave. Half a dozen changelings show up and make it difficult. We don't go planetary here, ByuN? Really? Okay. Orbital command in this position. Yeah, I don't think I like this. I don't think I like this very much from ByuN. I mean, if the Zerg player overextends, sure. And maybe there's a chance. I mean, maybe he just thinks Ultras are that bad right now. They don't really require a specific unit counter, and he may be onto something. Another Zergling drop inside of the main base. So these are fully upgraded Ultras, going up against fully upgraded Marauders. You know what? The Marauders are not doing that poorly. It just seems like the Ghosts have a lot more rigidity to them, but anyways. Now it's a Hyderling Bane-based army over here on the right side. Ultras coming in for the rescue. Obviously, Marauders are not great against any of these units. But it can, I guess, kind of soak up the damage, but ooh, a lot of the Medevacs go down. Medevacs are a critical part of this game, by the way, and ultimately, Dark. He obtains the victory, but I wonder if ByuN made that a little bit easier than he really needed to make it. Game number 2, we find ourselves on the beautiful Crimson Court. Named after the worst Darkest Dungeon expansion, but still a rather pretty map. Yeah, it's very red. It's very crimson. Anyways, double Rex opener right here from ByuN. A build order that the other top Terrans are not really that fond of anymore, it seems. Maru's not playing it too much, although he's mixing it in. I haven't seen Clem really play it all too frequently anymore either lately, but he might be mixing it in as well. Oliveira, who I do currently consider to be a top tier Terran. He doesn't play it at all. Okay. It's actually not a double Rex opener, it's a triple Rex opener. Dark realized it before I did. And I have perfect map vision. Embarrassing. Alright, this is a little bit of a skill check here, though, from ByuN. Because it's very easy for him to... Well, almost like... It's easy for the Terran to mess up and then lose the game, but it's also easy for the Zerg here to mess up. It's a high-risk, high-reward kind of game, and obviously ByuN... He has, well, pretty much single-handedly been the reason why the Reaper got nerfed twice. Still making these units look very, very powerful. Yeah? Killing Brenda is huge. I mean, she was old, so maybe it's a bit mean. Killing Karen would just be greedy. Oh, he gets so much. Oh my, this is what I'm talking about. That was so pretty. Get out of here, Karen, and nobody likes you. Sick place. Honestly, this is pretty much game over. Yeah, you can recover. But that was... Oh, no way. He hasn't lost a single Reaper until just now. He's gonna maybe lose 2 more. Okay, yeah, ultimately you will get cleaned up, but... Oh, that was pretty. Yeah, that's very good value. So very frequently, this build is amazing for Terrans when they don't deal any damage. You're not really forced to deal much damage. I mean, the triple Rex opener obviously is quite committed, but it's not like this is like an all-in or anything for the Terran player. It usually just transitions towards a relatively similar mid-game as what we saw in the previous game on post-youth. Alright. ByuN trying to get the Reaper nerfed again. Probably the most changed unit in the history of StarCraft 2. If you haven't watched the game since 2010. You may be shouting at your monitor. ByuN, get the speed upgrade! Get the speed upgrade for the Reaper! No, that one doesn't exist anymore. And then they nerfed the speed upgrade by requiring you to have a factory. So you really needed to get a factory going in order to... Anyways, it was weird. The Reapers also had grenades that were insanely good against structures. Yeah, probably the most nerfed unit in the history of the game. Still very strong though, when played with the right controls. I mean, this is kind of nuts. He's skipped away, by the way. Oh my god, it's just straight GG. Yeah, he's transitioned away already from Reapers. There was a bio push with Marines on the back of this, but my god, ByuN makes it look easy in game number 2. Just like that, we find ourselves on good old site Delta. ByuN says, don't mind if I do it again. This time, however, it's gonna be a double Rex. Look at him, by the way. Already positioning those barracks so he doesn't have to lift them off in order to build the additional add-ons. Kinda cute. Yeah, unfortunate moment right there for Dark. So, that's one of those strategies where if the Terran gets the momentum going, it is just pretty much impossible. You lose a queen, then suddenly the second queen is much easier to lose as well. You lose a spine crawler, you lose a creep tumor, you lose eventually the hatchery. Beautifully controlled, of course, by ByuN, who created those opportunities. Super easy for Terran to accidentally get surrounded there, but ByuN didn't do it. Third command center, once again, coming up nice and early. Factory coming up at the front as well. Yeah, I was gonna say, this is like a block of cheese over here. There's loads of holes in it everywhere, but there you go. We're plugging the holes. And calling this cheese is a little disingenuous, right? Okay, nicely done here by ByuN. Okay, now we're talking. Getting the council on that base is also huge. Okay, lovely work here. Lovely work here by the Terran. Overlord sees at least that there is a very quick third command center. So at the very least, that's something here for Dark. He does finish up link speed as well, but look at the timing here for ByuN. He knows when link speed is supposed to finish up, and he decides to go back home. Look at these Terran Reapers, dude. They all have a T tattooed on their backs. Yeah, the T for Terran. Maybe Terrazine? Beautiful. Cool to see ByuN still enjoying the strength of the Reaper. Yeah, funny how nobody's really ever matched his Reaper control as well. Just consistently getting so much value out of them. Anyways, it's double upgrades here on the back of it, it looks like, and Dark is just trying to get his third base going, right? He decided to cancel the third base earlier, remade it just now. He's gonna be able to start droning it nice and quickly. Since he knows the timing of the opponent's third command center, he also indirectly knows that he doesn't really have to worry about anything else for the foreseeable future. Like maybe some Hellions, right? He doesn't know what it's going to be. But there's not gonna be that much aggression here from the Terran. Hellions are a bit funky. Usually it's gonna be Stimpack together with like a bunch of Marine production. So this setup here is actually relatively uncommon. We could see like a... Oh, okay. That was just for the show. A lift for the fans. Thank you, ByuN. We could definitely see an armory coming up. But normally this should be Marines into one... Like usually 1-1 upgrades, sometimes a single upgrade, and then into Medevacs. But we've seen ByuN play very strange variations of this build where he decides to go for a very obvious Marine follow-up, but then he goes for a Hellbite attack. And you're like, what? ByuN, you're not... That's against the rules! Well, not technically, but... It doesn't make as much sense. Yeah, I don't think the Hellions were that great in this game so far, to be honest. So, Evo chambers are coming. This is no... Yeah, there's no lair or anything yet here for the Zerg. Straight Baneling Nest. It's a bit funky. Normally we go lair before the Baneling Nest. Or at least we go 1-1 upgrades before the Baneling Nest. Now we go double Evo. 1 upgrade, Baneling Nest. Not enough gas for the +1 armor. Okay. But now, if we do start up the +1 armor with 150 gas, the lair is going to be ridiculously late. And that means that even though we do have a Baneling Nest, Without Baneling speed, it's kind of pointless. There's a fight going on all over the map, but it's mostly just Dark losing stuff, and there we go. I don't love this, but then again, I'm criticizing Dark's build orders. Just let the man do what the man needs to do. Yep, so this is what I was talking about. A strange opener here from ByuN. But he can usually make these sort of things work. So that's probably the reason, by the way, that we saw Dark going into the Baneling nest. But now he starts up a lair. That means he doesn't have gas for Banelings. So the timing of the Baneling nest here really doesn't do him much good. He's got 3 Banelings coming. Now, I want to believe in the power of the Banelings as much as the next person, but... Okay, there's a lot of queens, though. These queens are amazing. 12 queens! Yeah, pretty good unit. Yeah, after all these years. Still the best unit that Zerg has access to. Yeah, so I disagree with the Baneling nest timing, but I think Dark realized that 12 queens would be a pretty good choice as well. A beautiful concave as well, by the way. Now, of course, this was just like a first attempt here. The armory is still a requirement to go into 2-2 upgrades as well, so he made the armory. Didn't really get a lot of value out of the Hellbats, but he's using the armory right now to go into 2-2, and that is going to be very early compared to those upgrades of the Zerg. So this was double Evo before the lair, but then the 2-2 research here for the Terran is still substantially quicker. "12 queens? How many do we have left over?" 11. What do you call a group of queens? A swarm of queens? A murder of queens? A herd of queens? A court of queens? I think a court probably makes the most sense. Or a swarm. In this particular setting. A Freddie Mercury of queens? Lots of options, really. ByuN has got to be a little careful, though. This is something ByuN always does whenever he's got Metavex out. He will be flying around the map. This man dreams of Metavex and Reapers, I'm pretty sure. It's like, but the Metavex is empty, and it's not moving right now. Let me change that immediately. You must fly. Go into the base, quick. Yeah, I always think it's a little too YOLO, but... Pushover on the main base gets cleaned up. Pushover here, though, is getting a lot more value, it looks like, as the Court of Queens is starting to drop. Splitting Marines on creep, by the way. Against Speedy Banes. Just ByuN things. Most players would be picking up and trying to get on out of there, but that YOLO drop is, yeah, getting a lot of value, it seems like. Ay, ay, ay. Zerglings going across the map. Trying to get some damage in, but it looks like ByuN has managed to deflect the Zerg from this position as well. Lovely work. Really cool. Siege tanks loaded up inside of the Metavex. They're gonna have to back off. So Dark may have lost a lot of creep on the left side of the map, and he may have lost a base, but he actually still has a lot of control here in the top right. Terran usually, yeah, exactly, from this triangle base, they will go for the 4th expansion here, or the 4th base on the left side. Not until the 5th goes up is when Terran will go back on the right side of the map. So as long as Dark is moving away from where the Terran is located, I think he should be okay. ByuN is sniffing this out. But it also means that if he decides to move his army towards the top right-hand corner, that he's leaving his bases very exposed. There's still a commanding officer here from the early game. 8 confirmed kills. It's important to have leadership in your army. ByuN, by the way, really very much so on top of the upgrades. So 3-3 is gonna hit like a truck. For now, the upgrades are pretty much even, but it looks like Dark is gonna have a massive disadvantage very soon. Because he hasn't even, yeah, he's only just now like a quarter through his hive. He's gonna need hive tech in order to start up the upgrades, and those upgrades are expensive. And this is not a game where he's got a lot of money. Okay, so Dark certainly in a situation where he needs to try and come back. Everything's flowing nicely here for the Terran, but this is also not really quite a situation where ByuN is just capable of tightening the noose and moving on to the fourth game, right? Like, this is not that comfortable of a match yet for him. It is just a Ling Bane-based army for the time being. No lurkers or anything like that on the horizon, so even though it seemed like... Currently, at least, both Solar as well as Raynar are fans of playing lurkers. Dark, not really that big of a fan. Oh, I say that? Thank you for making me look dumb. Anyways, Marine drop inside of the main base. Lurker Den is coming. Timing on the Lurker Den, though, is surprising. Nice splits right here again as well, considering he was not capable of moving there early enough. Bit of an overstim, though, and definitely an overextension. But so much value here being gathered by the Terran player. Like, the Lurker Den is coming right now, but the timing of it is confusing me a bit, because he doesn't have enough gas to go 3-3. He doesn't have Adrenal Glands coming. Lurkers are going to be strong, but if you want to go Lurkers, I think you probably want to start up the Lurker Den when you start up the Hive. So all of this is a little disconnected. Okay, we're going +2 missile instead, so I think he really does want to go into, yeah, just good old Hydra Lurker here. But surviving until that stage in the game is going to be really tough. Ghost Cloaking coming up. So ByuN apparently done messing around. On post Youth, he refused making ghosts. This time around, it looks like that will not be the case. Careful though, ByuN. Yeah, the cost efficiency has been there, but it's still very easy to overextend. I mean, obviously at this point, though, Terran is in an amazing spot. Command center flying on over towards the left side of the map. We don't quite have that mass command center style yet, but it's starting to be built. The infrastructure is coming. There's certainly an opportunity for ByuN to try and push for the win right now, but he's decided to back off. Back off, at least in the sense that he's not going to go for a big attack right now. He is trying to just establish as many bases as he can on his side of the map. The ghost count is slowly climbing. The same can be said for the command centers. We'll probably want to pick up at some point. Okay. Yeah, and this is ultimately giving Dark a lot of breathing room right now, right? So Dark is happily starting to macro up once again himself. His economy isn't amazing, but he realizes he's got some time now. Going full upgrades for the lurkers. Still though, amazing opportunity here for ByuN to just continue establishing himself in the game. It's always scary when you give your opponent some time again to get back into the swing of things, but all the signs are still pointing to a ByuN victory. We're up to 9 ghosts now. We have about 2 ghosts for every lurker. It's not a bad situation to be in. Okay, Adaptive Talons is gonna finish up as well soon. The full lurker upgrades are here. +3/+3 coming up as well for those bad boys. So Dark really just trying to play survival. You will be able to max out over the next minute or so. Adrenal Glands coming? Okay. I mean, Dark is still on 5 base eco. If there ever is a moment to start dropping all over the map, right about right here would be it. Anyways. Yeah, ByuN not really too committed here to anything. I think there's a way overextension. Like, why are we fighting straight Lingbane Hydra with ghosts? Okay. Not a very inspiring last couple minutes here from our Terran, but I guess he's just building up the command center count. Yeah, once you go up to like 10 orbital commands, it's hard to lose. So I think that's what ByuN is basically aiming for. Yep. We're going for about a dozen orbital commands, fusion core. Additional starports coming up, so this should be Mass Liberator Ghost with Bio for support here in the end. With so many command centers that ByuN doesn't really need any SCVs. You can scan wherever you want. Turn off the fog of war for just a little bit. But these fights are all kind of eh. I don't love these fights. I think Dark is also a little surprised. He's like, yo, if you... Okay, don't mind if I do. Oh, army hotkey right here from ByuN as well to try and bring these units back. And suddenly, there's a near maxed out Zerg army knocking at your front door. How many ghosts have just gone down? 11 ghosts have gone down. I don't think they did anything. Okay. Well, Dark will not need a lot of time to try and claw his way back into the match. ByuN just dropped thousands of minerals onto command centers that aren't really there yet. This command center will be replaced, or will need to be replaced, if ByuN still has the time to go ahead and do so. But I'm very surprised ByuN let it go to this point. Yeah. He's getting punished for that super passive approach. So this is something Terrans have been doing for the last couple years, but we've seen some of the top tier Terrans steer away from it. Like Cure, like Maru, like Clem. They don't really play the mass command center style as frequently anymore. And this might just be the reason. Because as soon as ByuN decided, yo, I am comfortable, let's go play SimCity instead of StarCraft 2. I mean, he's got command centers for days. But now he's gonna need them for mules. Very surprised, actually. ByuN of all people, he likes being very aggressive. He decided, nope, this is not what we're doing anymore. Maybe a little bit of tournament jitters coming in as well. It's one of those scenarios where sometimes you're so far ahead and you're like, okay, let's not play stupid. Let's not make any dumb mistake. Let's just expand. Let us just expand and go from there. Okay, so suddenly Dark finds himself with a massive advantage. He hasn't expanded though during all of that aggression. He could have at least tried to take this base over here, I would imagine, but I think Dark just is smelling blood in the water. He wants to try and see if he can win right here, right now, and he may just be onto something. ByuN never getting the big payoff of all of those command centers. Yeah, once the lurkers get into the right position, it's so hard to break them, right? So if the lurkers get over here, this like Terran intersection, there's like traffic lights and everything. The ghosts aren't really allowed to go until the right, jumps to green, and it's just so hard for the Terran to break. But I mean, it's a lot of terrain for the Zerg player to cover too. Usually Terrans will try to stop that to the best of their abilities, but ByuN, despite having full map control, caught off guard. Okay. Oh, well, here's another army. It's now just Marines, by the way. I don't think ByuN really needs to, yeah, he would like to make more units, but he can't really make much else. We'll probably see some Infestors, maybe some Vipers into the mix as well for Dark in a moment, because he's got a load of gas. Either that or he just drops more, more Lurkers, more Banelings. +3 melee is going to finish up here in just a moment. Let's see. Is there enough here for the Terran player to still get back into the swing of things? He's got loads of command centers. He's trying to re-establish some of the map that he's lost. Problem is, he only has 25 SCVs, and soon there's going to be even less than that. Bio army forced to return again. And even though there's only a handful of lurkers, the queens are making it difficult to get out with that spore crawler for the lip to really move in. This is basically the lifeline right here of the Terran. So even though you may be able to drop a dozen mules, if you don't have any minerals to be mining, there's nothing. If you have no minerals to mine anymore, I think Dark has just managed to do it. This army needs to win the game. Now, it's still capable of cleaning up at least a bunch of these units. Nice hit as well on that Widow Mine. I don't think this is the best angle for Dark to be fighting in. He really doesn't need to be fighting like this, but I think he's looking at this army and it's just not big enough. He's forcing the lift off. And a Hyderling Bane Lurker is looking mighty strong. Some Blinding Clouds, maybe? He doesn't even need it. We're stimming Marines into Lurkers. Yeah, I mean, you can try. You can go ahead and give it a shot, but Dark very well knows that this is now a committed all-in here from ByuN. GG is cool. It's Dark who wins game number 3. What's this? What's this? There's barracks everywhere. What's this? It's actually just a double Rex, which is a bit funky. There's a barracks in the top left-hand corner that's producing a Reaper, and then one over here as well. Normally we see a proxied third barracks, but instead we just have a double Rex here. Okay. Well, barracks number 2 is going to be producing Reapers, and so is barracks number 1. Dark is going to scout this, and he will see that there's only a single barracks. So he will just go for a nice and quick third command, or Zerg command center? Sure, let's go with that. He will just go ahead and plant down the third hatch, but I don't think he really needs to be too concerned. Now you will see the timing of the second Reaper, and that will make it quite obvious that delaying the third might just be the right play. One of the spores here, that is the drone that tried to survive, and it looks like it will. Okay. Nicely managed right here by Dark. Even though this is a little sketchy, he's not really lost too much, and we should probably expect the third hatchery here momentarily. Dark, in the meantime, all the way up to 400 resources. Ooh, okay. I think ByuN is starting to feel the jitters here. He started up a factory, but he brought that SCV all the way from the main base to the point where this is actually now a third command center before the factory, even though that wasn't the original plan. Bit of a beginner's error right there from ByuN. I think he literally sent an SCV right over here at like 500 minerals, or maybe like 400 minerals and 100 gas, something like that. And then he just decided to throw down that factory over there. A little too focused on just trying to micro those Reapers, but the Reapers also didn't really do too much. Yeah, one drone, I guess. That was the drone that was trying to decide if it should become a hatchery. Okay. Nice little Zergling push here by Dark. He knows that those Reapers were a little late. They should have gone home. There's a Terran curfew, you know. You need to be home before a certain time, and well, apparently they weren't home before midnight. Okay. Okay. At least some of them managed to make it. I think that Dark is pretty happy, though, with the beginning of this game so far. He must have picked up on the fact that the opponent is a little bit out of tune with what you normally do in a game like this. So we will just see a marine-based army, but there is no tech lab anywhere. So without a tech lab, he's not going to be able to go Stimpack, and without Stimpack, he's not really going to be able to go for any sort of attack. Dark now using this as an opportunity to go and play roaches instead. I'm not sure when we're gonna... Ah, there we go. Okay, we did the switcheroo over here at the front. I was gonna say, if we're not gonna go into Stimpack soon, it's gonna be very late. Okay. Stimpack. I'm always a little afraid whenever Terrans spawn at this point on the map, since their add-ons always spawn on the right side of the structures, right? I'm always a little bit afraid that it's... Since it's so exposed, you can just snipe it. Like, if those barracks would have been over here, then obviously the add-ons would be on the right side of them. We don't see a lot of Zerg attacks that are meant to try and deny those upgrades, but... Maybe this is what we've got in this game, though. Nah, I think it's mostly just defensive roaches, because he's droning on the back of it. Okay. +1/+1. Normally, one of the downsides of playing roaches against a marine-based opener is that the marines inside of medevacs can be super hard to actually hold on to. You kind of have to be inside of the main base, for example, as the medevacs already unload. But with this particular opener, you don't actually get such quick medevacs here. And we will see the production of them starting up right about right now, but relatively late. Compared to like a standard 16 marine drop, that one hits on the other side of the map at about 510. Now the medevacs start up at about 610. Anyways. Dark just scaring his opponent a bit with a handful of roaches. I'm a bit surprised we made 8 roaches, to be honest. 8 roaches seems like a bit much, but it's Dark. Dark can do whatever he likes. Usually for base defense, we see about 5, sometimes 6. But Dark's like, nah. Nah, we just go roaches. So he's got a bit of a timing coming, though. 1-1 together with roach speed does, of course, hit very hard. Infantry level 1 here, finishing up. So ByuN is going to maybe be able to have a pretty formidable army against it. Then again, Zerg doesn't really need to commit too hard. He could just go into like an infestation pit, straight into hive. He could go into a baneling nest. He's got some options. But he has been making army here for some time already. This is not a good moment, by the way, for ByuN to go for an attack. I think this army is just gonna get overwhelmed if he does commit, because the roaches are just about to hit a massive power spike. Although we're still about 10 seconds away from that. Yeah, careful. Careful, ByuN. Okay, I think going home right now is good. Sorry, buddy. There was no room in the plane for that one hellbat. How many siege tanks are we on? Just the 2. They're gonna be critical here, though. Yeah. Without the siege tank, it'll be really difficult to hold. Nidus network in the meantime. Mass roach production on the back of this too right here for the Zerg. So Dark is trying to see if he could potentially win the game right here, right now. He's got an Overseer flying towards the main base of the Terran. There's a massive dark spot inside of that main. So, good chance that we will see the Zerg trying to commit to a Nidus over there. And that is going to be a really tough one for ByuN to hold. He's already spread out very thinly. He has no clue about this. Reinforcing roaches are going to be popping into the Nidus worm. Maybe ByuN can pick up on the fact that his army does not seem to be getting any reinforcements. Yeah, you know what? Committing to this fight may actually be pretty good here for the Terran. Main concern, okay, now he sees the Nidus, is that there's a Nidus worm inside of the main base already. Quick reaction, though, here from the Terran. Only 6 SCVs for now. Keep in mind that Dark is very committed here. Dark did not go Hive, he did not go 2-2 Research. Whereas for ByuN, those upgrades are just about to finish. And they are safely tucked away in the natural expansion, the engineering base, that is. Okay. Loads of SCV losses, though. I think the SCV losses are acceptable, because he does have 4 orbitals. He's got 4 orbitals. So he can very quickly remax. But Dark is not really letting go. Nope. Even Brenda got to go across the map. Yeah. She's just here to poop in the Terran's main base. Yeah, that's what she does. The roaches were like, Brenda, we got a great joke. What about, listen, what about you go across the map and poop in their main? Good one, Brenda. You did it. Ultimate insult. Gotta make sure the Terrans are terrified. Okay, well, these siege tanks are having a grand old time. Big sacrifice, but eventually the units will get destroyed. It's still a lot of Marines, though, and these are 2-2 Marines. I don't think this is quite enough here for the Zerg to win. Alright. The worm gets destroyed. Okay. So ByuN's actually stabilized, and in the meantime, during all of this, he's like, you know what, I need another base. Let me get it going real quick. Okay, you know what? ByuN is gonna get a second chance. His army is not nearly as big as that of the Zerg, but he does have a very formidable force because of those 2-2 upgrades. 2-2 did start up here eventually for Dark. But Dark, of course, quite delayed with his tech. He doesn't have a hive. He's gonna go into Tunneling Claws together with Burrow instead. So this will just be a continued Roach Ravager-based army. In the meantime, ByuN apparently has smashed his piggy bank. He's using up all of his savings to try and go into 3-3. I don't know if the +3 armor is really worth it here, but he's got a lot of gas, so you may as well. Well, he's hoping he can catch some of these Zerg units. Yeah, obviously, Roach Ravager does not usually scale very well to the late game. So there's a reason why Zergs transition away from it, but Dark is, yeah, doubling down, but also starting up a bit of a transition. I think he's feeling quite comfortable. This Nidus Worm is ambitious, to say the least. We're gonna try and take the gold base. I love it. Skipping the expansion at the bottom, because Dark, yeah, he's been so far ahead for such a long time. ByuN realizes he needs to do something. Getting a kill on his base is not bad. Okay. I think we'll probably see a lurker down here in a moment. That makes the most sense in my mind, because this is not a game where Terran's really gonna go into ghosts very quickly. There are a lot of tunneled roaches now at the front. The Terran has no idea. Yeah, and you can tell here that those Marines are very strong. We're getting to the point where the age of the roach is over, and Dark is not quite realizing it. Yeah, I quite like the Marines though. Very strong. Dark trying to double down, making like plate armor, even though gunpowder has been invented quite a while ago. Anyways, you know what? Plate armor might just be able to win if you have enough of it. Multiple layers of thick steel right here will be able to get it done. It is an absolute meat grinder though. Ay, ay, ay. So many dead Zerg units. Couple more of the siege tanks apparently do not find a room in the plane, and that is painful. Losing those 2 siege tanks right there is honestly more painful than a lot of these other Marine losses. Yeah. ByuN's army supply does take a bit of a nosedive here. Oh, we have all army hotkeyed the Marines away. So Dark says, don't mind if I do. We're gonna do another cheeky little Nidus in the main base. This time around, we do also have, of course, the Hydras, and Hydras do hit pretty hard. It's just 2 roaches, just to be a nuisance. 1 roach over here at the gold base. A couple roaches over here too. What about this main fight, though? Is this all the Terran player has? Well, the siege tanks are clumped up together, and the Biles will be able to make quick work of them. Reinforcing Zerg units are also going to be very powerful. Reinforcing Terran units, though. I don't love these quite as much here on the side of the Terran, because these roaches are not going to go down without taking about 24 SCVs with them as well. I feel like Dark is making this game very complex, because he's been so far ahead. But I think he's still feeling comfortable. This gold base though is really nicely handled by ByuN. I love the fact that he decided to go for it, but now finally the Zerg is really going to take it serious. Dark's mostly just been allowing his opponent to get away with it. We have 3 Marines and a medevac. Okay. They're gonna have to kill about a dozen workers at the bare minimum in order to make up for all of this. Mules, by the way, at the gold base is not a great idea. Mules always bring back a flat amount of resources, regardless of the mineral type. Once upon a time, mules did mine, you know, a percentage, I guess. But these days, they mine an absolute number, so you're just kind of wasting opportunity here. Anyways, these roaches are gonna get shut down, but the roach hydro shenanigans in the main base keeps coming. A few Vipers have been produced here as well by Dark. The medevacs really have been the lifeline, but there's only currently 2 remaining. I only just now realized there's only 2 medevacs. How many have died? 7. Yeah, that's painful. Ooh. What little production that ByuN has, some of the units are getting picked off for free. Parabombs? Oh no, we're gonna go abductions. Don't usually see that very often on medevacs, but I guess it works. 1 Hydra. He's got his work cut out for him. Absolute Zerg sniper over here, man. Oh, he burrowed. But that wiggling is a little too slow. Okay. Concussive shells coming up at the 16-minute mark. Yeah, I think this is looking really good for Dark still. He is doing this in very typical Dark fashion. I think going into lurkers would have made the game about 10 times easier, but he's like, no. Listen, tunneling claws. Tunneling claws, no 3-3. We're just gonna double down on the roach tech. How about that, Lowko? Anyways. It takes a while. But I think ultimately he is whittling down the Terran player here. Another command center attempted though. We have pretty much full energy on some of these orbitals. Yeah, there's a lot of energy available. He could probably drop about 7 or so mules, which would give him a very substantial amount of income. Just not at the golden minerals, please. And you know what? He's hanging in there. It's been an absolute roller coaster of income advantage. It's not like Dark is trading particularly cost efficiently. He will be able to catch up as far as the 3-3 research goes. Eventually. It's taken a while. Now we go lurkers. Okay. Dark's still finding himself with a solid 60 supply lead. The Nidus Worm in the corner once again. Not spotted. There's been a Nidus, by the way, in that same location. I think about 6 or 7 times at this point. It's been the exact same spot. Then again, this is one of those situations too where you're like, there's no way he's gonna do it in the same spot again, right? Like, that would just be stupid, right? So I'm not even gonna try and counter it, right? And then, yeah, that's exactly what they do. ByuN is very broke, whereas Dark has still got a lot of income. He did lose an expansion up north, fair enough. There's a push over here as well. This bio army is not to be underestimated. Just good old Marines. Man with gun, going hard. One of the Vipers runs dangerously low. And you know what? Dark's economy right now is down the gutter as well. We don't really have a whole lot. Oh? You know what? This is actually, I think, yeah, for the very first time, a Terran income advantage. Okay, well now you've angered the beast. Dark is gonna have to go across the map and address this. Is there enough for the Terran to defend at home? That's the question. This gold base is absolutely pivotal for Dark. And he's gonna lose it. A lot of the bio units here are still available, but a lot of that Terran army, a couple medevacs misrallied. These units have like no HP. So they can stim, but I think they're just gonna, yeah. That's just gonna kill them quicker. Army over on the left side will at least do a little bit better, but the SCVs and the Marines, they all ended up getting shut down here. And suddenly, that's the downside, I guess, of microing really well. When you micro really well and you keep your units alive with like 1 HP, it makes your army supply look really good. But it's a little bit inflated. It's just mass Hydra, by the way. It's just, yeah, just Hydras. I don't know. We have Lurker tech, by the way. Oh, you know what's also nice? More Hydras. GG is gold. It's Dark, who ends up winning the series 3-1.